Now back to Fishing Headquarters, presented by Costa Sunglasses and Tuppence Marine and Tackle on ESPN 106.3 FM. Here's Pete Schultz.
And welcome back to Fishing Headquarters live right here on ESPN 106.3. Hey, thanks so much for tuning in. My name is Pete Schultz. I'm in the studio today with my brother Tommy.
And once again, good morning, Pete.
We've got a guest caller that's coming on this morning, and his name is Mike Carr, and Mike is the VP of Marketing at Fishbites.
Wow, Fishbites.
Fishbites.
Man, we sell a few of those, huh?
Yes, we do. I want to welcome Mike to the show. Good morning, Mike.
Morning, Mike.
Hey, good morning, and happy almost 25th year anniversary.
Thanks.
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate that. So, wow, man, Fishbites, it's one of those things that this time of year, Mike, is very popular in South Florida, as you well know. I'm sure your sales go up this time of year down here, and you guys make a lot of stuff, saltwater, freshwater. But how important is it for you and to have those things available for these guys down here in South Florida this time of year?
Well, to give you some of the history of why the baits are so successful for surf fishing, you kind of have to go back in time. My dad was the inventor of this product, and this whole thing kicked off when he was a little kid back in the 40s. He would go fishing with what would be my granddad, his dad, and he was born and raised in New Smyrna Beach, Florida. And and they walked around barefoot around the oyster bars. And one day he cut his ankle on an oyster, and all of a sudden, all these little tiny creatures came up and started kind of nibbling on that wound.
Huh.
And from that point, my dad was fixated on figuring out why that happened. And that took him to Duke and University of Florida, and where he became a marine biologist, and he was determined to figure out the chemistry of what's inside of shrimps and clams and crabs that, when wounded, suddenly attract everybody under the sun to want to come chew on them.
Sure.
And so that's what he did. He figured out what these magic ingredients are inside these bait species, and since he grew up surf fishing, that's kind of how he tested the baits and developed them for toughness. He was a big surf fisherman, and he was also a big fan of offshore bottom fishing for grouper. And so that's where the whole cloth thing came in. But
I got you.
The baits were just getting, when he was doing the testing, the baits were just getting chewed up by the grunts. And so that's why he got the cloth in the middle of it, and bang, you've got bait. So basically what Fishbites is, I don't want to get ahead of my skis if you wanted to ask a question.
No. One thing before you go any further, one thing that I'm hearing is, I've been in the business myself for 40 years, and I remember you said fish attracting, you said local, you said University of Florida, and the first thing that came to my mind was gator bites. Is that related?
Yeah,
was your gator bait? Was it gator bait, right?
Gator bait is the grandfather of Fishbites.
I gotcha.
Gator bait was a great product. It had a little bit of a trouble. We had a little trouble with its shelf life, but Fishbites is basically all the lessons learned from gator bait.
That's cool.
That's really neat.
Because when you were saying that, I'm wondering if gator bait was, back in the day.
We still got some old jars of gator bait.
Do you really?
Do you? That's awesome.
I'm afraid to open them. Probably something will jump out.
They'll have that peanut butter smell. They have that peanut butter smell from what I remember back in the day.
You're old, Tommy.
I am.
Yeah.
All right, so go ahead, Mike.
Well, I worked as a kid. I worked in the factory that made it.
Wow, that
I
is
used to
cool.
cook it.
Wow.
So this is great. So you've got this product that is it's got a cloth to it, but it also has some material that's holding the smell and the whatever makes the fish want to bite, the flavors that you have.
Well, basically, let's say you're a food scientist and somebody comes up to you and say, "Listen, I want you to make a fruit roll up," and everyone's tried a fruit roll-up or a candy that says artificial sweeteners or artificial flavors.
Sure.
Basically what they've done is they've taken a strawberry and broken it down into the individual chemical ingredients that, when put together in a proper proportion, tell you, hey, that's a strawberry.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And you can do the same thing with bait. And that's what he did. He broke down the chemical ingredients of the shrimp and clams and crabs and squids, and he figured out, okay, what are the 40, 50, 60 ingredients that, when put in the proper proportion, tell fish that, hey, this is something to go eat. And it's not just that when they get the scent, when the scent comes off the bait in the water as the gel dissolves, they come up, and when they bite it, they also get the taste that that's associated with that scent. So it's kind of a double whammy. That's why when they hit it hard.
I got you. Yeah. Nice. So that's really cool stuff.
So just think of it as fruit roll-ups for fish, basically. Those the easy flea and the easy shrimp, and and the cut baits, the baits you use for bottom fishing. Just think of it like that.
Well, we definitely sell a lot of this time of year. We sell a lot of the sand flea and a lot of the clam, and that
pink,
can't beat
pink color. Seems like that's hot.
That pink orange clam is just so good and so strong for us. And you guys make it in two different kinds. You make it in the small little pieces already pre-cut, or for some of the commercial guys. And we have commercial pompano guys that listen to our show, and they buy that 12-inch piece that's a half-inch wide, and they cut it in their own pieces, because some of the guys want to use it as the fishing side of it is, some of the guys want to put it on, and they have it on their hook, and they also put a bait on also, like the clam, or they'll put a piece of sand flea on there. Yeah, make a cocktail. So when they throw it as hard as they can because they think they need to fish in the Bahamas, they cast off their bait. They still have the fish bites on there, and they
still
catch
got
the
a
same
piece of
amount
bait.
of fish.
Yep, they still got bait.
Yeah.
So that's really cool. So you make in both. We sell a lot of the longer lasting one, and I know that you make both short and long lasting. The longer lasting one seems to be more our product for our area.
Yeah, the fast acting baits, those baits and the red bags, for anyone who's seen them down there, those baits would dissolve pretty quickly. They really are designed for colder waters, something you would encounter north of Jacksonville or even north of Savannah, especially when, it turns to fall and winter and those water temperatures really drop. And the reason behind that is the softer gel. If you remember back in the day, there used to be two temperatures of detergent. There was a cold water detergent and a warm water detergent, and that's all about getting things to dissolve in cold water. They hadn't come up with the liquid detergents yet, and I definitely have dated myself with that.
Sure, yeah, that's right.
But anyway, there used to be a time back when telephones had cords. You had two different types of detergents.
Mm-hmm. Sure, you didn't have Siri back then.
No, there was no Siri and no Google.
So Mike, I know that we sell a lot of that particular type of bait because of the pompano and the beach fish and the surf fish, and like you were saying, from where you guys are at all the way south, from Volusia County south all the way down through the Keys. This is a very good product this time of year. Now, but also you make the fish strips, the chunks. The chunks that you guys make are for bottom fishing. We used to sell some of those. We haven't sold many lately, probably because we don't have any in the shop. But we had guys who were buying the squid chunks and actually taking them out on the reef and using them to catch fish. So that's a different. Is that a different design, or it's just a bigger piece?
That's what they're designed to do. I mean, that's exactly what they're for. Is for that kind of bottom fishing. Depending on where you're fishing, the target kind of shifts. And for when they were developed up here, our target species were red eyes, black sea bass, and grouper. Down like on the Gulf side, the grunts are actually good fish,
right?
Because they're bigger. They're not just bait stealers. And so down there, probably this be the same story. Maybe not so much red eyes, but maybe more grouper. And the good thing is you can leave those baits down there and let all the small fish peck at it and create some noise until the big boy comes along and takes it from them.
Right. Scares them off and eats it.
Right, perfect. Yeah. So I have two more questions,
Mike. You can ignore all those little rat-a-tat-tats.
Right, all the little bait stealers, yeah.
Yeah, and just sit there and wait it out and wait for the rod to really bend.
Mm-hmm. Well, I have a couple more minutes here, and I have a couple more questions for you. The first question is the color that you guys put in the product, is that for the visual, just for the fishermen and or the fish, dirty water, clean water type thing?
The answer is yes.
Okay. And then the second question I have, I knew the answer was yes. The second question I have is, I saw on your website that you guys have a product called Fight Club.
Yeah.
Is that new?
Well, let me quickly address the color issue. When we came out with Fishbites back in the 1999, 2000, we had one color. It was white. It was a white bait, and they were in these tiny little bags, and we had 4 SKUs. And the first thing the bait shops were on us, once the bait really started selling, first thing that the bait shops started requesting were colors. And, and there's these, 4 or 5 confidence colors that are universal almost throughout the world. And so we were like, well, we're not Zoom lures. We're not going to come out with,
right.
40 different colors.
Exactly.
So let's just pick the top 4 or 5 and just stick with it kind of across the spectrum, at least for the cut baits. And by cut baits, I mean the baits that you're selling that are the gel baits that have the cloth in it. Now when we start talking about the Fishbites Fight Club lures, now we are getting into another totally different type of material. Just imagine, if you will, if we can make a fish bite a piece of bubble gum, imagine what we're going to be able to do with the material that we're making the Fight Club lures out of, which is a scent-infused biodegradable plastic, a hydrogel. So once it hits the water, the scent, the same scent that's inside of those cut baits is now inside of this lure.
So it comes out also?
Yes, it comes out also.
Wow.
The lure doesn't, the color, the scent release doesn't work the same way. It's not because the thing is dissolving. It's because it's coming out of the micropores that are in that hydrogel.
Okay. So these are more lures, Tommy. I looked them up this morning. There was, how long have they been out, Mike?
We started this late last year.
Okay. Because it's new. We haven't seen it.
Yeah, I didn't see them at shows or anything.
Some of the manufacturing, and they were released last year.
So they have like a jerk bait, they have like a paddle tail, they have like a curly tail,
jig.
Yeah, typical 3 different designs,
right?
Yeah, kind of 3-inch, 4-inch, that kind of thing.
Right,
it's definitely something that we may think about getting in stock and maybe start to promote for you, Mike.
Yeah, well, that would be awesome. You're certainly not going to get the word no from me on that. But yeah, these again would be obviously not for surf fishing. These would be for guys that are targeting those near shore.
Yeah, backcountry,
snook, reds, trouts. Hey, Mike.
And the early word we've gotten from the people who've bought it or have gotten some is that they're really durable. You can really pull on these things. There's a video on the website, fishbites.com, where you see a guy just literally stretching the living crap out of this thing, and it's not breaking.
So, Mike, I got a text from one of our local guys while you've been talking, and he wanted to know if you made a strip, because he was using them in Destin for kingfishing, but he wanted to know if you made a strip, a wider strip that they could put on the back of like a sea witch to troll for those kingfish, that would hang on for more than 1 or 2 fish.
Well, we've been playing around and dancing around with the idea of coming out with a supersized, easy bait. Something that's like an inch wide.
Right.
That I can't predict when that's going to come out.
Sure.
But to answer his question, the answer is probably yes. There will be something we will come out with.
Well, cool.
That will be like a 1 inch wide piece.
Kind of like a pork rind, only with your flavors and scents.
Sure.
Well, we got a guy that'll test it for you. I know
absolutely.
He'll test
send
it.
To him. He'll take it out there. He fishes every day.
Well, Mike, I gotta let you.
We'll have. Usually, the line of bait testers is very long.
Sure, sure. Exactly. Well, listen, Mike, I gotta let you go. We need to go to a commercial break, but dude, I'm so appreciative of you calling in this morning and sharing with our listeners about the science behind your product, and I really do appreciate you calling in today.
Oh, well, thank you guys, obviously for supporting our products in numerous ways, and your listeners as well, those who use it and those who hope to use it, go wet a line and go have some fun.
Sure.
All right. Hey, man, if you get a chance, throw some stuff our way. We can share it with our listeners. We'll maybe get something away in the next couple weeks. And
oh, yeah, we're going to set you up with something.
Okay, perfect. Nice. Sounds good, buddy. Hey, thanks so much again. You're down in the Jupiter area. Stop into the shop and see us.
Absolutely.
Okay,
thank you.
Thanks. Man, that was really good, Tommy. We got just a couple minutes. Let us go to break, and we want to wind this thing up. Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to Fishing Headquarters on ESPN 106.3 FM.